We're going to cross to South Africa to speak to Chief Rabbi Dr. Rabbi Warren Goldstein. Chief Rabbi Goldstein is the youngest person ever to be appointed in the post. In his 10 years in office, Rabbi Goldstein has launched and led so many revolutionary initiatives, and they've changed both the local landscape as well as actually the landscape of the entire world's Jewry. He's the architect of the Shabbat Protojet, which has united Jews in over 465 cities through the keeping of one Shabbat together. He's also founded Sinai in Durban, perhaps the largest annual Torah convention of its kind. He's a qualified Dayan, and Rabbi Goldstein has published many books, including Sefer Mishpat Tzedek, Defending the Human Spirit and the Legacy. The Chief Rabbi also has a PhD in human rights and constitutional law and is a regular columnist for many different places, including the Jerusalem Post. Welcome, Rabbi Goldstein. Thank you so much for being here and for speaking with us tonight. Now, tonight, we've seen the breadth of engaging Jewish communities from all around Australia. But one thing that we really need to concern ourselves with is the length of engagement. Rabbi, can I ask you tonight for your advice in engaging the next generation?
Thank you. It's so lovely to be with you and with all of your viewers, and to be with the Jewish community of Melbourne and indeed all across Australia. I think this is just such a wonderful initiative, and thank you so much for inviting me to participate in it. And as I was waiting to come on, I heard some of these amazing and inspiring stories of shluchim and how they're reaching out to Jews all across Australia and indeed the world. And that's something which is truly inspiring. I think what is so important when reaching out to people is really a sense of inspiring everybody that we have tremendous power within us. We need to believe in ourselves. You know, we often talk about having faith in Hashem. We also need to have faith in ourselves. And that means to know our own greatness. And that means to know that we are actually creators like Hashem, you know, that we have a mitzvah to imitate Hashem. And part of that is to know that we can create the world in which we live. And how do we create ourselves is through the mitzvahs. And one of the most powerful mitzvahs, obviously, that has the power to create ourselves is that incredible mitzvah of Shabbos that has the power to bring Jews together. But all of our mitzvahs are Hashem's formula for really uniting and holding us all together and helping us to create who we are as people and make our world into a better place. In fact, our sages have this incredible phrase, this beautiful phrase where we are called upon to be shutaf lakadosh baruch hu b'ma'aseh bereishis, to be a partner with God in creation, to make this world into a better place, but to partner with Hashem to make ourselves into better people. And we do that through our mitzvahs. And I think that reaching the next generation is to reach with a message of hope and beauty of what Judaism has to offer and what Torah has to offer, and that it is not about pain and suffering and persecution, but it is about this incredible partnership with Hashem to make ourselves and our world so much better and into so much more. And I think when people feel empowered, and they have that sense that they can do things in the world, and they can do things in their own families, and they can do things in their own lives through the power of the mitzvahs, that is when that incredible spirit is ignited within people, and they feel a sense of being complimented, that Hashem wants us to be his partners in creation, you know, which is something truly remarkable and people find so inspiring. And I think that has to be a key message of it, a sense of personal empowerment, a sense that we're all leaders, a sense that each and every single one of us has the power to change ourselves and the people around us and to make a difference. We don't have to wait around for somebody else to do that for us. We can do that for ourselves. As the Mishnah Pirkei Avos says, Im ein ani li mili, if I'm not for myself, we'll do it. I have that power to change my life. But also, kishani la'atzmi mani, if I don't reach out to others and make the world into a better place and share that light, what am I? We need to reach beyond ourselves. And I think that it's really about each person finding that mission and connecting with Hashem's mitzvahs, which unleashes the tremendous power of what it means to be a creator in this world. I can share more with you. I don't know if you have more questions or I should continue. I don't know what the format.
Yeah, definitely, please continue.
Okay, good. So what I wanted to share with everybody And that is really the sense of what it means to be a creator. And what does that mean? Really, to be a creator with Hashem means that we mold our lives, and the mitzvahs give us that framework. And if we take, for example, the mitzvah of Shabbos, which has such beauty and such power to resonate and connect with people, it's really about nurturing our most precious relationships. The three most precious relationships that we have is our relationship with Hashem, our relationship with the people around us, and our relationship with ourselves. Those are three separate relationships: how we relate to God, how we relate to the people around us, and how we relate to ourselves. And all of Torah is contained and directs us on those three relationships, but especially Shabbos. Because when it comes to Shabbos, it's the day that we have where we can focus on Hashem and be aware of his presence. When we say the words of the Kiddush, we acknowledge the presence of Hashem. We feel his presence in our lives. We acknowledge him as the creator of the world. On Shabbos is a time when we are with our families and with our loved ones and with our communities. And it is that sense of bonding that we draw from those relationships, where we can be fully present in the relationship and feel the people and connect with the people in the deepest possible way. But it's also an opportunity to connect with ourselves, because sometimes we are so busy and there's so much distraction and so much going on in the world around us that is seeking to grab our attention, that we forget who we are in all of this. And we have to reconnect and really touch the essence of who we are as a person. In fact, there's an amazing passage in the Gemara, where the Gemara says that if, for example, a person loses their temper, it's as if they've worshipped idols. Because what is idols? An idol is a strange god. In the Hebrew, it's avodah zarah. It is the worship of a strange entity. And actually, what Rav Shlomo Wolbe explains on that Gemara, he says this: it means that we become estranged from ourselves. When we leave a path of goodness and we lose control of ourselves, and we do something which is not true to who we really are, we become estranged from ourselves. He in fact talks so beautifully. He says, if you want to capture the essence of what the entire Torah is all about, it's captured in two Hebrew words: olam hayedidus, the world of loving friendship. That the Torah itself is a blueprint and a formula for how we can nurture relationships with God, with our fellow person, and indeed with ourselves. So there's a sense of integration and wholeness in our lives, and that we are held together by that force that connects us with all around us. And it gives us a formula to nurture each one of those relationships. And we need to be true to ourselves. So we can't be estranged. We don't want to be estranged from Hashem. We don't want to be estranged from the people around us. He points out, fascinating, the Hebrew word for cruelty is achzar. And if you see inside that word is the word zar, which means stranger. To be cruel to another human being is to view them as a stranger, to view them as another, as an other, as someone who's distant from us. It's only when we connect with everyone that we have a sense of unity and togetherness. And only when we connect with ourselves, we have a sense of unity and togetherness, even with ourselves and with Hashem. All of the mitzvahs are a blueprint for creating and nurturing these three relationships. And indeed, Shabbos, more than ever, is a mitzvah which holds all of these relationships together. And that's why, people have often said, how did the Shabbat Project spread all over the world? And it's actually, it's in more than 1,500 cities in 100 countries all around the world. And I'm so honored that the Jewish communities of Melbourne and Sydney and Perth, and indeed all over the country, and even all of the outlying places in Australia have been such amazing partners in the Shabbat Project. And people say, what has been the magic and the secret of the Shabbat Project? And to me, it's very simple. The secret of the Shabbat Project is Shabbos, because Shabbos is the most incredible gift. It's the only mitzvah that the Gemara, the sages of the Talmud, referred to as a gift, as a maton, as a gift from Hashem. So it's the gift that holds our relationship together with Hashem, with the people around us, with ourselves. It unifies all of Am Yisrael, and that is our incredible gift. So our message to everyone this evening is to say that let's all stand together as Am Yisrael, as the Jewish people all over the world. Let us recommit ourselves to this mission of nurturing and holding these precious relationships, our relationship with Hashem, our relationship with each other, and our relationship with ourselves. All of the mitzvahs and the entire Torah is a formula for how to nurture these three relationships. And Shabbos, more than ever, is the force of unity that holds it all together, that brings us together in a world of loving friendship. It's been such an honor to be with you and all of the members who've joined today and part of the community. And just may Hashem bless Australian Jewry to continue to thrive and to grow in strength. And may Yiddishkeit grow and Jewish unity grow. And thank you so much to the entire community for your continued partnership and support in so many things. It's an honor to partner with you. And may Hashem bless us all and our entire world with health and with healing.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Goldstein. Now, I've had quite a lot of questions coming through. If it's okay, could I please just ask you a few of them?
Yes, sure.
Question, thank you so much. One of the questions is, was there a moment where you decided that the Shabbat Protojet, or how it actually came about?
It was actually a process. I think firstly, all ideas come from Hashem. This is something my wife and I spoke about a lot. We often debated and discussed, how do we bring Shabbos to the Jewish community in South Africa? That's what we initially wanted to do. I had also an interesting conversation with Professor Dan Ariely and other conversations, and it percolated, and then Hashem puts ideas in your head and guides you, and I could feel the presence of Hashem guiding us. But I remember specifically discussing with my wife in the first year in 2013 that we just wanted to do it in South Africa, and we never thought anything beyond that. And we thought, well, will it even work in South Africa? And I remember my wife saying to me, well, if only 10 Jews will keep Shabbos because of the Shabbos project that year, it would be worth all the effort. So we said, fine, let's just do it. You can't fail. I mean, if one Jew keeps Shabbos because of it, it's worth the effort. So we did that, and then the community in that year just embraced it with such warmth and energy and heartwarming acceptance that then it ignited and inspired the entire world. And then it gathered its own momentum, and I put a team together, and then we reached out. But the power has come from volunteers on the ground. There have been amazing people who have driven and put so much energy into this all over the world, and including in Australia in such a magnificent and special way.
It's amazing. I mean, 465 cities is so huge. Another question that's come through is, can you tell us a little bit about Nelson Mandela's relationship to the Jewish community?
Yes, sure. I think also, just on the numbers, it's about more than 100 countries and 1,500 cities actually.
Oh, wow. That's a lot more than we thought.
Community
That's huge.
All over the world. Thank God. Nelson Mandela, there was a very special bond between him and the Jewish community in South Africa. I had a very beautiful interaction with him, just before I started as chief rabbi. I took a copy of a children's book on his life story, Long Walk to Freedom. And I took it to him, and he asked him to inscribe it to my eldest son, Mordechai. And so to Mordi, we call him Mordi. And Nelson Mandela wrote in the book, he said, to Mordi, a future great leader of the world. And of course, my wife agreed completely with the President Mandela on that point. But on a truthful note, it opened my eyes to what made him a great leader. One of the things that did, apart from obviously his famous powers of forgiveness and spirit of forgiveness and generosity of spirit, but also that he saw greatness in every person, and that greatness he saw in the people around him, and that greatness uplifted him, and it uplifted all of the people around him.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I just want to direct everyone, because I'm sure that everyone has so many more questions for you and would love to hear much more of your insight, to your website, which is www.chiefrabbi.co.za. I've been on there a lot this week, and there's so many amazing things. And thank you for reminding us about the key to a vibrant future for world Jewry, and how to be proactive and how to create it with our unified values, which is really something we've done for thousands of years. And it's something that I've heard you speak about before as well, how we've endured and we've prospered, even though many of the great empires that have tried to destroy us have fallen. So thank you so much. And I will definitely be on your website later on to hear much more. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. And can I say this for people who want to get involved as volunteers for the Shabbos Project for this year, to go onto the Shabbos Project website as well, shabbosproject.org or shabbatproject.org. We call it Shabbos and Shabbat. It's all the same thing, as long as we keep it and celebrate it. It doesn't matter how you say it. So, we'd love more partners and more people to get involved. So reach out, and we'd love to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Goldstein.